burn down test for the Well, good evening and welcome to the Arbor Hills Nature Preserve in Plano, Texas. Tonight's exercise is a field test of the Nitecore EDC17. 3-in-1 light. Chances are pretty good you've already heard about it. Now, Nitecore sent me a pre-release version of this light. All I had time to do was put out an overview before the formal release for the SAR team, which is the private community on this channel. Then, a few days later, I left for 2 weeks of vacation, got back, another week to just get myself back into some sort of routine. So I have to confess to being a little bit late in terms of getting review information out on this particular product for the general public. As with some other Nitecore products, I got to take care of a little business. As you can see, thin but internal battery. Okay, people have different ideas and opinions about internal batteries. Of course, it could run out, can't be hot swapped. Something could go wrong with the internals. There's no way to get to it. I totally understand. I have verified that the light will run while charging, so if you commonly carry a power bank with you, maybe that's the option. On the other hand, this is intended to be an EDC style light, probably more casual use. So I don't know what your personal opinions and preferences are. If you don't like the internal battery, that's a showstopper. Hey, no problem. Like I said, I get it. I can save you some time. Just go ahead and close this video and go find something else. And I do thank you for your time. Now, if you're still here, you already know something about the product. You just want the usual set of beam shots and field tests. Go ahead and click through to the next chapter. I will give you some observations based on several weeks of carrying and using the light. Overall, it did carry very well. I really liked the aggressive texturing, got a glass breaking bead. I suppose the clip could be a little bit deeper, but I didn't have any particular issues with it. The form factor, the feel, the weight, the operation, it really kind of first impressed me as being similar to an out the front knife. So yeah, if you've ever used an OTF knife before, this will be a very familiar feel. Very simple operation. Lock here, move forward for low, medium, high. Mode switch here, constant press for the green laser, and then indicator on the side here. The only thing that may happen to you, this did not happen to me. You notice this is a relatively large switch, so depending on how it's being carried, depending on how it's packed, I mean, it does take a little bit of pressure to move that forward, but it could be moved forward inadvertently. So think about how you would carry and deploy. In terms of general operation, even with gloves, didn't have any real problem with it. Now, I did mention low, medium, high for the white light. You do have access to an ultra low. We'll take a look at that tonight. Of course, the other two outputs, you probably already know this, are UV and green laser. All right, enough of me, enough of the blah, blah, blah. You really want to see field performance. I get it. Time for me to shut up and get out there and do my job. So at the bridge where I normally do output level test, low white, walk to the edge here, look out over the railing, down to the creek, medium, move over just a bit. Okay, there we go. Probably a good 40 yards line of sight this time of year. Wind's picking up, blowing a lot of the leaves around. Let's go up into the highest output, and then a quick look at the field of view. Well, here is the green laser by itself. I'm pointing on the concrete path right now. Yeah, okay. Go up the tree there, back down, around, another tree. Very interesting, very powerful. I'm imagining that I might use this trying to point something out during a review. So hang on here a second, I'll show you something else. So here's something that's perhaps a more practical use of the laser. Low white output. So let's say I'm filming something and I want to point something out. You can simply press and hold the mode switch, and now I can use the white output and the green laser simultaneously. I can personally, for product reviews, imagine a number of uses for that. Well, I'm here at Scorpion City in the low UV output. And of course, it's one of those nights. Nobody seems to be out. Let's go up into medium. Man, that's really nice. Well, there's lots of things moving around, but they don't show up on UV all that well. And then high. Man, if you like doing exploration with UV, I think you're going to really like this. I just wish there was a scorpion out. First practical exercise of the evening, close quarters search, low white. You've probably seen this before. The scenario is your kids were playing out here earlier, dropped something, now you have to come back and search for it. Low is totally getting the job done out to that 10, 12 or so yard range, maybe even a little bit further if you're looking for something highly reflective and you know the area that you want to search. Now, if we want to branch out further, I'm looking for something that's not that reflective. Yes, I can see out there, but getting that level of identification is a bit hard, so let's go up into medium. And yeah, that's probably doing it for me. Very easy to light up these shadowed areas. Okay, so I think you've got a pretty good idea for usage in this scenario. So for path following, this is low output. Actually, for right in front of you, maybe 10, 12 yards downrange, not that bad at all, really. Now downrange, of course, is a bit on the weak side. Let's go up into the medium output. Yeah, if I really wanted to get downrange, I'd go briefly into medium and then back down to low. That is what I like about, I'm going to call this kind of an OTF, out the front knife UI, is that it is so easy to go back and forth and back and forth. The output levels don't cycle around, so it's real easy for me to go medium, low, quickly all the way up into the highest output, and then boom, backed off. I let the light cool down, so let's do a burn down test for the highest output level. Now this is a somewhat irregular tree line, but that gap right in front of me, if you walk to the far end, I stepped it off. It's probably a good 70 yards. Let me move back and forth here a bit. Now you can hold the light comfortably without getting your fingers anywhere close to the head area of the light, but there is some heat up in that area. Of course, it's not interfering with my use of the light. If I didn't make the effort to put my finger there on purpose, I probably wouldn't even notice it. Okay, yeah, we're seeing some step down here. Okay, now I'm starting to feel just the slightest amount of warmth with my normal grip. Probably going to let this run to a little over 2. The heat is starting to go down just a bit. Okay, we're over 2 just for fun and my own curiosity. I just dropped it down to medium, so it looks like that first steady state is just a little bit higher than the medium output level. All right, let's do a quick wrap up. Low white, probably seen this area before. Look out over another creek. Medium. I should be able to get upwards of 60 yards line of sight if I can get just the right angle. There is the highest output level. Pan around to the right. Look up in the trees. Go over to a bit darker area with a bit more line of sight. Okay, there we go. All right then, that's about it. I hope you've seen enough to make some sort of decision or determination. I suppose in my mind the thinking process is determine what you think about an internal battery. Once you get past that, how are you going to carry it and deploy it? I did have it with me for the entire extent of my vacation. I carried it in multiple different pockets, did not have an accidental activation, but I have not loaded it up in a pack yet. So I still think that there's a possibility there, just pointing it out so that you can think about it before you hit that add to cart button. Of course, I haven't noticed anything in the way of heat, even on the highest level, that could be dangerous. Then moving on from there, of course, it's a 3-in-1. Now, you're paying for the 3 whether you use it or not. So how often would you use them? If it's 90% plus, 95% plus or more, the white light, well, quite honestly, for this lumen output, if you're just interested in a number on the box, there are a number of very good value for the dollar lights out there with the exact or comparable lumen output at much lower cost. So what do you think of that green laser? What do you think of the UV? The operation of the light for me has been great. I'm thinking of a use case where I take this out on product reviews, use the laser pointer to point things out so I don't have issues with the focus switching to either my trekking pole or my hand. The white output is probably good for close quarters observation. I could definitely use it for night hiking. It carries so well, it's so light. Might even take it out in search and rescue ops. Just have to try that later in the year, see how it works out. So that's a little bit of the off the top of my head thinking. I hope the thinking process helps you out some. If for some reason you need to see an additional test let me know. I'll see what I can do. I may consider doing a battery endurance test. Not so much that this is the light that you would take with you on a long exploration, but just kind of considering the situation where you go out during the day, get jammed up, end up having to come back on a pretty long hike during the night. All you've got on you is your EDC light. How well does it perform? All right, well, that's enough of me babbling on, so I'm going to shut it down for tonight. Like I said, if you have any additional questions or want to see another test, let me know. And as always, until the next review, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for watching the video.